Alright, so with the ever-increasing amount of cool and powerful SS Plus or even SS items, it's now more important than ever to gather as many esoteric scrolls as you can, as that's the only way to get these weapons or ninja tools without spending your hard-earned money. So today I'll be giving you the ultimate guide on not only how to get as many scrolls as possible, but also how to do it super fast and even keep them after you've already used them. Now, let's get to it. The first and probably easiest way to earn some esoteric scrolls is simply by logging onto the game every day, as no matter what event is happening, there's always going to be at least some reward for doing so. And as far as I know, you're always going to be getting at least a few esoteric scrolls during the week for logging on. Sometimes there's also a campaign event happening, like for example now, that rewards you even further by simply booting up the game every single day. So it's even more worth it to do it during times such as these. The second option you have is simply by completing missions, which are 5 small objectives given to you each week that if you complete you get a small reward for. The reward for completing all 5 is always going to be 2 esoteric scrolls, so make sure you do this every week. It shouldn't take you long. Later on in the video, I'll explain how to be as efficient as possible so you don't have to spend hours playing the game, but you can still get a substantial amount of scrolls every single week. There's also usually a special emergency mission available as well, which can sometimes offer you around 5 esoteric scrolls for completing a straightforward objective. This currently isn't the case, but getting the 10 exchange tickets is also pretty helpful in the long run. So complete these missions too whenever you see a reward you think is worth it. Another way to earn scrolls, and quite a lot of them actually, is by fully completing the base game masters training, which will always give you 3 scrolls. There's 20 non-DLC masters in the game, meaning that if you complete all of their training, you're gonna get 60 esoteric scrolls, which is already quite a lot. In case you're someone new to the game, you progress through their training by simply picking them in an Jutsu library and playing any game mode. This will eventually allow you to collect any reward they offer. Doing this to completion takes a little while, but it's most definitely worth it. Just make sure not to forget to swap your master once you fully complete the training, which you'll be able to tell is done by the progression bar being full after matches. A different thing you can do to earn some more scrolls is simply leveling up, as no matter what rank you are, every few levels, I believe it's 5, you'll get a free esoteric scroll. This obviously gets more difficult with time, since the higher level you are, the harder it is to get to level up, but at the start, it's definitely a good way to earn some scrolls. Now, let's move on to the number 1 way in which many players earn their scrolls, which is simply by competing in the weekly events. For those of you that aren't aware, at any point in the game, there's an in-game event going on, either a 1 or a 2 week one, in which you earn points by simply competing in the event. These points allow you to rank up, and for each new rank there's a different type of reward you get. The one thing all of these events share though is the fact that you get esoteric scrolls usually at rank B1 or S1. The amount you get can change though, depending on either the type of event or for how long it's going to last. The event happening during the recording of this video is the Ninja World Face-Off, which gives you 5 esoteric scrolls for reaching B1 and then 10 of them upon reaching the rank of S1. Now, don't worry, you can't actually D-rank while playing this game mode, and any other one for that matter. You're always going to get some points for every single match, even if you lose or in the case of this event place last. That being said, winning and overall doing well will significantly boost the points you get, so it greatly helps you achieve the desired ranks faster. Okay, so now that we have talked about all of the ways to get the scrolls, let's talk about how to optimize all of these steps so that each week you can get as many scrolls as possible for the least amount of effort. And then we'll discuss how to potentially keep the scrolls even after you use them. So, first of all, you'll have to log in every day if you want to make the most out of the login bonuses. It's not that big of a deal if you miss it, but unless you aren't home, I'd recommend doing it, since even 1 esoteric scrolls every 5 days can become significant over the long run. The login campaign events usually provide a longer period, so you won't have to boot up the game every day. In the case of this event, you'd actually only need to log in every 2 days to get each reward. Afterwards, you'll check the emergency mission and decide whether or not it's worth your time. In this case, the 100 tickets are definitely worth it, as appraising 30 plain scrolls will take you like a minute max. Then you'll check the weekly missions and complete whatever makes sense to complete immediately. Looking at this one, all you need to do is play 5 quick matches and clear 3 missions. The rest will be taken care of by your actions after this. The VR missions are a little bit of a pain in the ass, so you can split them up into different sessions if you don't want to do them all at once. After you are done with this, you will see if you have any non-DLC VR masters that you haven't completed yet. And if that is the case, you will equip one that you aren't 100% done with. Next, we'll head into the actual event of the week. This is where you decide how much time you are willing to spend on the game, as the difference between getting B1 and S1 is often quite high in terms of actual time invested. Getting to B1 can be pretty easy. and you'll be able to get it by playing for a bit every day. Playing the game every day for around an hour should do the job, but you can obviously do it in one day too. To get to S1, you'll need around 75k points from what I've heard, as to be honest with you, I've never spent the time to get there actually. Don't get me wrong, it's still very much possible, but definitely requires more of an effort. My personal advice is to always first check the actual rewards, as the number of scrolls you get for B1 and S1 can sometimes be the same. It isn't currently the case as this event it's doubled for S1, but that's not always how it is. In the scenario where B1 gets you as many scrolls as S1, I'd say it's more time efficient to stop there. Unless you of course want to keep playing the game, and if that's the case then just get to S1. I also have some tips to share with you for how to increase your win rate in these game modes. I'll cover both the Ninja World League and the Ninja World Face-Off, but let's start off with the latter one since that's the one that is currently active. In case you don't know, the Ninja World Face-Off is an event centered around survival battles, so it's a free-for-all. You want to place as highly as possible, since the better you do, the more points you get. I highly recommend using the Steam Imp Ultimate, as this secret technique feels absolutely busted for this game mode, and oftentimes will allow you to jump multiple spots in a matter of seconds. It's so effective because in survival battle, the most important part is finishing off enemies that are as high on the leaderboard as possible, and the Imp will often just float into ongoing battles and explode, easily taking out multiple opponents with just one clone. Not to mention, you'll easily be able to pull this off at least twice in a single match. Just make sure to activate it with a lot of health, as the Steam Imp dies if you do. Apart from that, you can run whatever feels most natural to you, but if you want to be super sweaty, I recommend using Fire Style Majestic Destroyer Flame and Wind Style Great Breach, as both of these projectiles are super easy to use but deal a ton of damage for range types. In terms of the Ninja World League, I highly recommend making builds specific for the game modes, which are Combat Battle, Base Battle, and Flag Battle, and just switching between them. If you are solo queuing, playing a heal type will be very important in Combat Battle, as there's way too many teams around without one, and it makes a massive difference to your team. If you want more specifics, you can check out my video on the best builds for every game mode, where I go into more details. Obviously, if you have friends that are good at the game, it makes things a lot easier, but it's not super simple to find such people. With all of this said, if you manage to complete everything I told you, you will at the very least have 19 Esoteric Scrolls by the end of the week, not accounting for leveling up, VR Master Progression, and the fact that you could reach S1 in the event, which could honestly double that number. Keep in mind that this changes every week, sometimes it's more, sometimes less. Usually there's a lot of scrolls to get around the release of a new character, so keep an eye out during that period. Okay, now let's get to how to use these Esoteric Scrolls as effectively as possible. Before getting into this, I do have to warn you that I am not sure if this is a bannable offense. So I am not telling you that you should do this, all I am explaining is exactly how this glitch works for educational purposes, so that everybody knows how to avoid and not do it, obviously. So, in Shinobi Striker on PS4 and PS5, there is allegedly a glitch that you can use to retain Esoteric Scrolls even after using them. More specifically, getting them back if you aren't happy with your rewards. You see, the way that it works in the game is that the items you will get from the scrolls are predetermined, only changing when the Ninja Tools shop lineup changes. So what this allows you to do is to upload your game data onto the cloud, simply by going into the settings, save data, PS4 games, the upload section, and choosing Shinobi Striker. After which, you can use your Esoteric Scrolls in the shop and see exactly what they will contain. And if you are not happy with the results, you simply immediately exit the game. Go into the same section, but this time into the download from cloud storage option, and you download the data back. And when you boot up the game again, you'll have the same amount of scrolls as before without the gained items, of course. This basically allows you to see how many scrolls the item you're looking for is going to cost you and whether or not you're even going to get it, and decide based off of that if the price seems worth it to you. Obviously, luck still plays a big role, but at least you won't be getting nothing out of all of those scrolls you spent all your time on. Now again, I only explained everything for educational purposes, and I am not telling you to go and do this. But for real, I can guarantee you won't actually be punished for this by the game. I don't think so, but I cannot be 100% sure. It's not game breaking and doesn't hurt any other players, but the developers probably don't want you using it this way. Anyway, with all this combined, it shouldn't be at all hard to get weapons you most want in Shinobi Striker, as you can just save up for however long and cash in the scrolls when luck will be on your side during that Ninja Tool shop rotation. Either way, I hope you guys found some value in this video and perhaps learned something new. I will see you all in the next one. Bye!